The single most effective way to make sure that your interview for an art school course goes well is to research the course that you're applying for, because without a shadow of a doubt, your interviewer is going to say to you, why do you want to place on this course? And you need to have a good answer to that question. So research the course online, attend an open day, go to their degree show, do whatever you have to do to know about this course, because that way you're going to come across proactive. You're going to come across as somebody who really cares and really wants a place on this course, compared to people who don't even know what modules are on the course, who, even if they're really talented artists, they're not going to seem like they deserve a place on this course, and the interviewer is going to pick that up. I'm going to show you two interviews. Interviewee A did no research for the course. Interviewee B did research for the course, did go to an open day, did go to a degree show. You'll see the difference. So why do you want to study on this course?
It just seems like a good course, and I like this city and my friends are applying here, so I thought I'd give it a try as well.
So why do you want to study on this course?
Well, I came to your degree show last spring and I was really impressed with the work I saw. So I booked a tour in an open day and the facilities looked amazing, especially the wood workshop. It looks really, really cool. And the student giving me the tour told me that the tutors are really inspiring and you get a lot of contact hours. So that all seemed really positive. And I saw online that you teach modules on video art and installation art. And those are two things which I'd really like to explore. So that made this course really stand out to me.
You see the difference, right? So research the course as much as you can. Don't be that guy.
Hey guys, I'm just in the editing stage of this video and I realized there's something I forgot to mention. Obviously, it's going to be a lot harder for some people than others to visit degree shows and open days, depending on where you live geographically and your financial situation. And I think this is really unfair because some applicants will have parents who will just drive them to every degree show, every interview, and it will be really easy. And some applicants will struggle to afford the train fares to the different cities where their art schools are and will find it really hard to attend the open days and the degree shows. And I mean, it's a shame that classism has to play such a big role in who gets into art school and who doesn't. But if you are someone who is struggling to attend the degree shows, I think there are still things you can do. Like, the point is that you show the intention that you want to learn as much as possible about this course and show that you really, really want a place on this course. So some courses will have YouTube channels where they'll have interviews with course leaders or online virtual tours of facilities and stuff like that. I think it's really, really great if you can just learn as much about the course as possible online if you can't physically attend an open day. And that way you're showing the interviewer that you have intention and you have drive and you really want a place on this course. And I think that's the most important thing. I think that's actually more important than being like, oh, I've done everything. I've ticked all the boxes. It's showing the interviewer that you want a place on this course. And there are ways you can do that if you can't physically be at the open days. Virtual open days are really cool, so I definitely check that out as well.
When you apply to art school, normally you have to write a personal statement and upload a digital portfolio which you send off to your courses that you want to apply for. And if your personal statement, your online portfolio is good enough, they will invite you in for a physical interview where you're expected to bring a physical portfolio. That is, unless you're international, then I think they do it via Zoom or in an online way. And in this video, what I'm going to be talking about is the verbal element of the interview, how you can say the right things and prepare in the right ways so that you come across as the strongest possible candidate for that course. And then I'm going to upload a future video where I talk about how to put together the best possible portfolio for your application. So that'll be in a separate video, and I've already made and uploaded a video about how to write the best personal statement. So make sure you check out all three videos because they're all going to apply if you're applying for art school. But yeah, in this video, we're talking about what to say, what not to say, how to prepare, what research to do in order to create the best possible interview for yourself. The trouble with interviews normally is that you don't really know what kind of questions are going to come up, and especially with like art school culture and the kind of weird professors that you might come across, you might just come across some questions that you could never possibly have prepared for. But there is an element of predictability. There are some questions which I can guarantee you will be asked when you go for an interview at art school. And the advantage of kind of knowing what questions are going to come up is that we can prepare for them. You're the smart one who is preparing for your questions, and that's going to pay dividends compared to the students who turn up who didn't prepare for their questions. Luckily, the Tate galleries, they have a page on their website on how to do an art school interview. And I'll post the link in my description so you can read the whole thing. But they have a whole list of questions that you can expect to come across when you do your art school interview. So let's look at this list. I'll just read them out real quick. Why do you want to do this course? Did you attend an open day? Why do you want to study here? Have you noticed those first 3 questions we've already covered by talking about researching the course? If you've researched the course to a high enough level, those first 3 questions, easy. Do you have a favourite artist? What are your favourite books, magazines, films? What contemporary practitioners or artists inspire you? Contemporary practitioners is just a really pretentious way of saying artist or creative, by the way. What are your most successful pieces of work? What exhibitions have you visited recently? Have you any ambitions for what you want to do in the future? So this is what the Tate galleries expect to come up when you do your interview. And that seems pretty that covers all bases. I would say, yeah, fair enough. We've already covered the first 3 bullet points. I would argue the next 3 questions are also interrelated. Do you have a favourite artist? What are your favourite books, magazines, films? And what contemporary practitioners or artists inspire you? These questions are almost trick questions because the truth is there's no right or wrong answer. There's nothing you can say that's correct or incorrect. That's not what they're looking for. What they're looking for is the why. They want you to say, I like this artist because X, Y, Z. They're trying to get you to talk about art and to talk about what art means to you and show that you have an understanding of art and culture. That's really what they're looking for when they ask you those kinds of questions. So obviously, if I was you, I would have a little think in advance. Who is your favourite artist or artists? Do you have a film that's really inspired you, or an artist or an exhibition that you went to that really blew your mind or inspired you in a certain way? But more importantly, I would figure out why. What was it about that book or about that film or about that artist or exhibition that inspired you or changed the way you think about art? Because really, if you can articulate it well, that is going to make you seem amazing. So let's go back to our 2 candidates. Candidate A didn't think about it at all. He's just turned up on the day. He's going to do his best. Candidate B did some preparation, has thought about who his favourite artist is, and more importantly, has figured out why that artist is important to him. And you're going to see the difference between the 2 answers. It becomes very obvious who the university is going to pick for that course. Do you have a favourite artist? Favourite artist. It's funny, I love so many artists. There's so many that I just can't think of one. Who's the guy who does those swirly skies? Van Gogh. I like Van Gogh. Do you have a favourite artist? Well, I'm really inspired by Van Gogh's paintings. I just think they're so psychologically intense. I went to the National Gallery recently and I saw a couple of his paintings in real life, and I was just blown away by how bold brushstrokes and intense colours can create such a strong sense of anxiety and movement and tension. And I've really tried to incorporate that into my own painting, to use bold brushstrokes and intense colours to create psychological intensity. So I'd say Van Gogh has really inspired me, and he's one of my favourite artists. See how even though both candidates gave the same answer, it's not really about the answer, it's about how you justify the answer. Candidate B did so much better because he articulated why he likes Van Gogh. It's You could say any artist, that's just a name. The interviewer doesn't care who you like. It's about why you like them and can you express that, because that way they get to see a bit more about who you are, how you work, and why art's important to you. I've got some more tips here that I just want to go through with you, just like one by one. Tip number one, go to an exhibition. This will make you seem really proactive and engaged, and it will make you seem like you're really immersed in the art world. But more importantly, what exhibitions have you visited recently is one of the questions published in that article by the Tate Gallery. So do some Googling, find out where the nearest galleries to you are, and go pay one a visit. If you're based in London, I have a whole video around what are the best galleries to visit in London. So you can check out that video. That might help. If you're not in London, Google's your best friend. Find a gallery, go visit it. Next tip, read a book about art. Now this is next level. If you tell the interviewer that you read a book about art, you're going to seem so ahead of the pack. And as luck would have it, I made a video recently called 5 Books Art Students Should Read. If you watch that video and read one of those books, you're going to seem amazing. You're going to seem so ahead of the game. So, and it gives you something to talk about. So if you worry that your conversation's not flowing, you can be like, oh, by the way, I read Ways of Seeing by John Berger. I thought it was really interesting. And watch the interviewer's face light up. I promise you, that is a massive W for any interview. Tip number 3, reread your personal statement before going to the interview. The reason you need to do that is because your interviewer will be rereading your personal statement before they interview you. So they might bring something up which you wrote on your personal statement, and if you forgot it was there, or if you just don't quite remember, it will seem a bit like confused. It's much better if you're like, oh yeah, that thing I said in my statement, yeah, and then you can just keep going from there. So I would definitely reread your personal statement before you conduct your interview. This one goes without saying, but I'm still going to say it. Turn up early for your interview. Be like embarrassingly early. Be like 45 minutes early. Just bring a book and sit there. Way better to be early than to be late. And can you imagine how stressful it would be if there was a traffic jam or a train delay and you left it like with just not enough time and then you're late for your interview? Like, that would be the worst. So treat it like the airport. Just get there super early, because why wouldn't you? Interviews are a really scary and daunting process, and that sucks. So if you're feeling nervous or anxious, I think it's completely fair to just say, I'm really sorry, I'm struggling to get the words out because I'm feeling quite anxious. And I think the interviewers would be really accommodating and really understanding around that. Like, it's not their job to trick you or to trip you up. It's their job to get as much out of you as possible and to find out as much about you. And I think if you just if you let them know that you're feeling nervous, it will really ease the pressure a little bit, and they can talk to you in a calmer way. Maybe you need some water or 5 minutes. I think that would really help. And I don't think any courses would ever penalize you for that. They're not judging you based on how amazing you are at public speaking or giving interviews to strangers. That's not what they're here to do. They're here to find out whether you're a suitable candidate for the course, whether you love and care about art. And so, yeah, I'm all for telling the interviewer if I'm feeling nervous or anxious, so that they know and can accommodate me. I think that should be more common. So I would encourage you to do that if that's the way you're feeling. If you're not, then cool, doesn't matter. Next tip is more like advice, I guess. Not all art schools conduct interviews, but all the best art schools will conduct interviews. In my opinion, it's kind of a red flag if a course accepts you and they haven't interviewed you, because that shows they're just accepting everybody and they're not checking to see if you're the right kind of candidate for the course. What that tells me, unless they've done extensive portfolio checks, personal statement checks, and it's just a weird course, what it tells me is that the university is trying to make as much money as possible. They're trying to bring as many people through the door as possible, and they don't care if you're the right kind of person for the course. So I would encourage you to attend a university that does require an interview. It shows that they're trying to create a sense of community. They're trying to get the best people. And I really think you'll benefit from being around the kind of people and the kind of culture that a course which does have interviews provides. So yeah, I would be suspicious of any course that doesn't do an interview. That being said, more and more universities are now conducting online interviews. This is becoming more common, especially if you're applying for a course in a country that you don't live in. That's completely fine. If possible, conduct the interview on a laptop or a desktop, not on your phone. This is a big one. Course leaders check Instagram accounts of their applicants. So if you're applying to a university course and you have pictures on your Instagram or videos on your TikTok that don't paint you in the best light, go private or delete the pictures. Sounds obvious, but like that could shoot you in the foot, and they are really sneaky. I know for a fact that they check your Instagrams, so they're probably checking TikToks as well. And finally, interviews are a scary process. Be kind to yourself after you've done one. Go get an ice cream, have a pizza, hang out with some friends, play some video games. Do something nice after your interview, because you've just done a really scary thing and you should reward yourself for that. Anyway, if you do an interview, let me know how it goes. And please, please, please let me know what questions they ask you. I'd love to make a database of what questions are being asked in the interviews. So if you could put that in the comments, I'd be hugely, hugely appreciated. Thank you so much for watching this video. I've also got a video coming out soon on how to put together a portfolio, which is going to be like kind of a part 2 of this, or actually part 3, because I also did a video on how to write a personal statement. So it's like a package of videos on how to get into art school. I recommend you watch them all if you're applying to art school. And I don't know why you'd watch this video if you're not applying to art school. So watch them all. I really hope this was helpful. Please like and subscribe. And yeah, have a nice day. I need to get better at signing off. Have a nice day. What is that? Bye.